homeless man sitting outside a coffee shop made $15,000 in 7 months. No donations, no pity money, just one brutal conversation that forced him to see what he'd been blind to his entire life. And the twist at the end? It'll make you question everything you believe about success. Corner of 5th and Main, outside the busiest coffee shop in the city. A man sat on a worn cardboard mat with a paper cup in front of him, collecting the occasional coin from the morning rush. He'd claimed this corner for 2 years. Prime real estate for someone in his position. Steady foot traffic, stressed professionals clutching $7 lattes, guilt moving faster than generosity. He knew the rhythm like muscle memory. Morning rush from 7 to 9, lunch crowd at noon, evening commuters from 5 to 7. It wasn't living, it was survival math. But on this particular Tuesday, something shifted. A woman in a sharp pantsuit approached, heels tapping confidently against the pavement. He recognized the type instantly. The well-dressed ones usually gave more. He straightened up, put on his humble expression, and extended his hand. She didn't reach for her wallet. Instead, she crouched down to eye level and asked, "What's the last thing you gave someone?" He froze. "Ma'am, I don't have anything to give. That's why I'm here." She studied his face calmly. "You have time, you have attention, you have stories. You have a perspective most people will never experience. But you've convinced yourself you have nothing of value." "With all due respect," he said quietly, "none of that pays my bills." She nodded. "Exactly. Because you're not offering it. You're just asking. My clients don't pay me out of pity. They pay because I give them something worth more than their money." She stood up and said, "If you want people to give you something, give them something real." And just like that, she disappeared inside the coffee shop. That night, he couldn't sleep. His corner, his cup, his cardboard sign, none of it felt right anymore. He kept hearing her words over and over. "But I'm homeless," he whispered. "What value could I possibly offer?" The next day, he didn't speak to anyone. He just watched. People rushed by, trapped in their own worlds. Tired eyes, heavy steps, no connection. Everyone isolated in the middle of a crowded street. And then something clicked. Maybe people weren't starving for money at all. Maybe they were starving for meaning, for connection, for something real. And for the first time in a long time, he wondered, what if I could give them that? On the third day, he didn't put out his cup. Instead, he sat with an old notebook he'd found in a trash bin and a pen someone had dropped. Hands trembling, he wrote simple messages, little truths, jokes, observations about fear, pressure, and wasted potential. He tore out a page and made a small sign. Daily message, pay what you want. Hour 1, nothing. Hour 2, nothing. His stomach ached and the doubt grew heavier. By hour 3, he was ready to quit. The woman was wrong. This is dumb. I had more money when I was just begging. Then a young guy in a hoodie stopped. "What's this?" he asked. The man swallowed. "Today's message is, the coffee is overpriced, but your potential isn't. Stop undervaluing yourself." The guy laughed. Damn, I needed that. He dropped a $5 bill into the notebook. Man, I needed that. I've been thinking about quitting my job all week. It wasn't much, but it was enough to keep going. Hope flickered. The next day was worse. Rain poured. People rushed past him without slowing down. By noon, he had $3. He stared at his old cup. Maybe this whole value idea is stupid. He almost reached for it, but an older man with an umbrella stopped to read the day's message. Just because you feel stuck doesn't mean you are. You might just be standing in the wrong story. The audio nodded and placed a $10 bill at his feet. "Don't stop," he said. "The world's loud, but this is signal." By the end of week 1, something was clear. With the cup, he made $10 to $20 a day, mostly coins, mostly averted eyes. With the message board, he made $40 to $80 a day. Fewer people, but more connection, more intention, real conversations. One woman left a note. "Your words stopped me from crying in the office bathroom today. Thank you." Another person took a photo. "I'm posting this on my Instagram," she said. "My followers need this. Mind if I tag the coffee shop?" He nodded, still getting used to the idea that his words were worth sharing. She smiled. "I'm Jessica, by the way. And you? You're not just homeless. You're a writer." The next few days, strangers walked up and said, "I saw you on Instagram. My friend sent me your post. Do you have more of these?" His earnings climbed. $52, $67, $81 in a single day. But the money wasn't the main change. For the first time in years, he felt something he hadn't felt on that corner. Useful. He wasn't just taking anymore. He was offering something people wanted. And if you're finding value in this story so far, make sure you subscribe and like, because stories like this are what we explore every week. One afternoon, as he was rewriting the day's message, the woman in the pantsuit walked by again. She stopped, read the board, and smiled. "You figured it out," she said. He nodded. "You told me I have value. I just couldn't see it. I thought I had nothing because I own nothing, but I have perspective. I have words. I see things other people are too busy to notice." She reached into her bag and pulled out a business card. "I own this coffee shop," she said, "but I just do visit occasionally, as I have other business engagement." He stared at her, stunned. "How would you like to do this inside? We'll call it Corner Wisdom. You sit by the window, write your daily messages on our chalkboard. Customers pay what they want. You keep the money. We get the atmosphere and the traffic." His hand shook. "You're offering me a job?" She shook her head. "No, I'm offering you a partnership. Partners create value together." From that day, everything sped up. Week 1 inside the shop, the chalkboard became a daily ritual. People walked in, bought their coffee, and walked over to read his words. "Man, I saw your quote yesterday and came back just to see today's," one regular said. Another, "My boss shared your board on LinkedIn. You're famous in our office." The owner pulled him aside. "We've never seen mornings this busy. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." Weeks 2 and 3, a local blogger wrote an article. "Street philosopher turns coffee routine into therapy." The post went semi-viral, shared thousands of times. His Instagram, which Jessica helped him set up, grew from a few hundred to 8,000 followers. People commented things like, "I screenshot your quotes every morning. This is the only reason I look forward to Mondays." Daily take, $90, then $120, then some days over $150. Month 2, a small publishing company reached out. "We've been following your posts. Have you ever thought about putting your messages into a book?" He laughed nervously. "I've thought about eating 3 times a day. That's about it." They sent a contract. Book deal. Advance. $8,000. He stared at the number for a long time. $8,000. Jessica, the influencer, screamed when he showed her the email. "You're not just a guy with a board anymore," she said. "You're now a brand." Month 3. The coffee shop owner had another idea. "Let's do Wisdom Wednesdays. You tell your story. People ask questions. We charge a small entry fee. You keep the majority." First week, 20 people showed up. Next, 40. Then 70. They had to turn it into a schedule. He realized something powerful. People weren't just paying for quotes. They were paying for context, for the story behind the words. Month 4 and 5. 2 other coffee shops in nearby neighborhoods asked if he could replicate the model. He knew he couldn't be everywhere at once, so he did something bold. He approached 2 people he'd met on the streets, people who reminded him of himself from months before. "I'll teach you what I've learned," he said. "You don't beg, you observe, you write, you offer perspective. We partner. You run the boards there, we split the earnings." Suddenly, it wasn't just a corner, it was a system. He checked his notebook one night. 7 months since that question on the sidewalk. He added it up. Tips, events, brand collaborations, the book advance, over $15,000, all from words, and one mindset shift. 3 months later, the coffee shop was packed, string lights overhead, people standing shoulder to shoulder. Tonight was his book launch. He stood at the front, a simple microphone in hand. The woman in the pantsuit stood off to the side, watching. He took a breath. "Someone once asked me," he began, "what's the last thing you gave someone?" The room went quiet. I told her, "Nothing. I have nothing to give. That's why I'm on this corner." But I was wrong. I was measuring value in the wrong currency. He held up the book. I thought value meant money, status, possessions, but real value is impact. It's what you leave people feeling. I'd been sitting on a gold mine for years, my perspective, my story, my words, but I labeled myself too worthless to offer it. He glanced at the woman. She didn't give me a handout that day. She gave me a mirror. She showed me I was thinking like a victim, when I could be thinking like a contributor. She smiled. "You did the hard part," she replied. "You changed your story about yourself. That's where everything begins." "Can I tell you why I asked you that question?" she said. He nodded. She took a breath. 30 years ago, my mother gave birth to me on a sidewalk in a corner in this city. My parents were homeless, drug addiction, mental illness. The system had failed them completely. His eyes widened. When I was 7, I lost both of them. I ended up in foster care. But one social worker, she didn't just see a homeless kid. She saw potential I couldn't see in myself. So when I saw you on that corner, I saw myself. And I knew one day you'd be ready to hear it. He stood there, speechless. "The coffee shop," she continued, "it's not just a business. It's the first location of what I'm building. A rehabilitation program for people experiencing homelessness. Because the world doesn't need more pity. It needs people like you and me. People who know what it's like to be invisible, showing others they have value worth offering." Here's the uncomfortable truth. You're probably sitting on value you can't see because you're measuring it wrong. This man thought his worth was equal to his bank balance, so he behaved like someone with no worth. The moment he realized his perspective, his words, his observations were valuable, the world started treating them that way. What are you undervaluing about yourself right now? A skill? A story? A way you see the world that others don't? Ask yourself, if I stopped asking, "What can I get?" and started asking, "What can I give that people actually want?" what would change? That shift from taker to giver, from victim to value creator, that's where everything starts. The value exchange principle is simple. You receive in proportion to the value you create. If this story shifted your perspective even a little, hit that like button. That's your way of trading value back for the time and effort that went into this video. Comment below, what's one piece of value you've been hiding or underpricing? Maybe it's your story. Maybe it's your skill. Maybe it's just the way you think. Share it in the comments. You might inspire someone else. And if you know someone who feels stuck, someone who thinks they have nothing to offer, send them this video. It might be the wake-up call they've been waiting for.